So what's the status of the NIM organization and the project? Who are you? Where are you at? Where are you getting funding from? What's the plan in the immediate future?
Yeah, we're a startup. We have 8 people on board. The co-founders include Dave, who left Facebook Libra and now works at NIM. Claudia Diaz, who's like probably one of Europe's most well-known privacy researchers. Anya Petrowska, who built the initial Lupix system. We've got some great people helping out, like Theo Goodman, who a lot of people know from Bitcoin trading. Um,
Buy over 50 cryptocurrencies with no fees whatsoever using crypto.com. Get a £50 bonus by using my link and signing up on the website.
and other folks like Alexei Rousseau, who basically co-founded one of the first cryptocurrency exchanges in Switzerland. So the team is, I think, super solid. Every day we're releasing new code. You can always follow it on our GitHub. All of our code is open, and we just push to dev branch immediately. And then once we push enough, we collect it up. And I think our next steps. I mean, currently we're coming up with what we call test net, because there's a lot of things that people want to do that we don't have working yet. So, for example, we want to enable something like Tor hidden services, which use a technology called single-use reply blocks, which is a little bit hard to explain. But the way to think about it is that every time I send you a letter, inside that letter, there's a kind of secret one-time use return envelope that you can then put your response in, and then the next letter you get back is a different one-time use for envelope, and so you never know who sent you the envelope, even who you're talking to, but it can make both sides perfectly anonymous to each other and to the entire network. And so that's kind of our main focus, is basically getting that work going and getting a few integrations. We're very happy to see the Electrum integration work.
Mhm.
We would love to see more integrations. If any of you guys out there, or girls out there, have awesome projects you want to integrate with, talk to us. And I think that's kind of our next steps, is really kind of to grow the user base once we've matured the project a lot. And we know a lot of our supporters, like the infamous Bitcoin coder Amir Taki, is working on some really cool secret stuff. And we expect all that to kind of launch over the next year.
Okay. And where are you getting the funding from? Are you privately funded?
Yeah, we're a startup. So we have funding from both people that want to use the network. So we get occasionally we get grants. We just got a grant from the Cosmos folks, the Interchain Foundation. We've had private funding through Binance Labs. A lot of the people, there's a kind of backstory where a lot of people were working on sharding. They had a startup called Chainspace that Dave and a bunch of people worked at. They got bought by Facebook. Unfortunately, they built Libra, and then Dave, being the righteous guy that he is, quit to work on privacy. But a lot of those people came to fund us. So great folks like Eden Block, Limnus Cap, KR1. So we have basically private funding, and we do contract work. And so far, it's been going well.
Okay.
And having the crypto markets go up is always exciting for us. It gives us, we're pretty deep. I'm pretty personally, I'm a big fan of Bitcoin, and so it's always great to see that go up, and it's great to see more and more new projects come in. But also, up and down, it's very hard to see what the future is, and so we always try to maintain enough reserves that we can keep going no matter
Sure.
what happens.
Sure. And then where does blockchain and cryptocurrency come in with the NIM project?
Yeah, so I mean, the cool thing about cryptocurrency, particularly if you're watching the DeFi space and you're watching all the cool stuff, in Bitcoin around Schnorr and Taproot Liquid, and you're watching all this amazing stuff come out, is that people are very open to adopting new technologies.
Mhm.
So if I go to like a web browser and I say, hey, I want to adopt new technology, it's like a multi-year process to even get it launched. If you go up to a cool cryptocurrency project, often open source, often quite decentralized, they can adopt and move really fast. That's what we've really been seeing over the last a few years. And so we consider cryptocurrency as the cutting edge of people who are willing to adopt new technology that helps privacy. And that a lot of that comes from, I think, the same kind of cypherpunk ethos that we all have, that we share, really valuing human freedom and privacy and censorship resistance, and being very interested in decentralization. So cryptocurrency is, I think, the motor of the early adopters that will start the system going. And then we could go to, let's say, not as innovative communities. And in terms of decentralization, historically, obviously a VPN is centralized. You're sending all your data to a VPN server that then just ships it out to the internet. And Tor is a bit decentralized, but partially centralized. So it's not particularly well known. But Tor has what's called a centralized directory authority system. Essentially, they maintain who's in and out of the Tor network. And it's basically, a set of friends. And I think that's maybe the best way to start the network.
Mhm.
But effectively, we have built a decentralized way for nodes to come in and out of the mixnet. And so we do use a bit of blockchain tech internally, even though we're not a cryptocurrency as such, in order to keep track of who's in the network and if they're doing this mixing, the shuffling correctly, or they're dropping packets. If they're dropping enough packets, we eventually kick them out of the network. And if they're shuffling them correctly, then we keep them in the network. And so we use blockchain tech, we consume it, and we also think that the kinds of people that use blockchain tech will be the kinds of people that are kind of down with privacy, basically.
Sure. Okay. And I'm just wondering, is there a coin that's used to reward the nodes, the people running the nodes, or is that people you have to use to pay fees?
Yeah, so currently we just reward people. We were using shielded Zcash. Now that we have confidential transactions on Bitcoin working, rewarding people using LBTC, which is basically BTC that's pegged for confidential transactions. So we currently do not have our own token, our own coin, and the main reason is what we need to maintain is the reputation of the nodes. Now we're open to some form of tokenization, but we don't want to do it in a dumb fashion. So you see a lot of projects, they jump forward really quickly, they tokenize something without even delivering anything, and that's dangerous, right? Because you can have attacks on that infrastructure, and you don't want your project to be totally taken over by speculation. So we're doing a little bit more of a conservative route, which is rewarding people using currently confidential transactions in LBTC, and we're going to keep working out the reputational system over time. That being said, we do expect that people will be rewarded for running mixed nodes, and we really think that because there's so much demand, reward should be proportional to demand, so demand will grow and people will get more reward as the network grows. Because one of the problems you have with a lot of anonymous networks is you have VPNs, which are all quite shady. But then if you try to use a decentralized VPN like Orchid, you have to buy a token, you have to have a MetaMask account. It's a bit of a pain, to be honest. A lot of people, it's not particularly good for users. And then if you use something like Tor, well, it's great, it's free, and that's wonderful. And I use Tor every day for web browsing. That being said, the problem with Tor is that when the coronavirus struck, because they were dependent on government grants to a large extent, they lost about 1/3 of their funding. So we want a sustainable incentive structure that's decentralized, but basically keeps the software and the code going into the indefinite future. Because we don't think that demand for stuff's going to decrease anytime soon. We think it's only going to increase.
Yes.
And just talking about other projects, I give you our take on other privacy projects.
Sure.
See a police siren outside. I hope they aren't coming. But our general take on is that there's been a lot of work on on-chain privacy. And there's not been enough work on network level privacy. So network level privacy, again, Bitcoin has two things. It's not just the chain. It's also the peer-to-peer transaction, which is picked up by the miners that get you on the chain. And other altcoins have various versions of this. Some better, some worse. It's all sort of, mixed up. But there's been very little attempts to look at networking seriously. And that's a big problem. So you see, for example, Zcash doesn't take networking currently very seriously. Doesn't even have Tor working. We've been trying to get them to even make something sensible happen with Tor. That's a problem. And then, what we see, so I know you've talked about Pirate Chain in the past, and, Pirate Chain basically forks Zcash and makes everything anonymous by default, shielded, let's say. And I like that approach. I think things should just work and be private by default. That's how you build larger and larger anonymity sets. Mm-hmm. And so we're also happy to see the Monero community take that approach, although with ring signatures. And we're happy to see confidential transactions using homomorphic encryption take that approach. So we think that systems which are by default privacy enhanced on-chain will eventually succeed. Now, one thing which we would love to see, which I think would be a big boon for DeFi people out there, but I think is in general useful, would be something like a privacy enhanced smart contract. And that's something which we haven't seen much success on, but we do think that that's something which should be coming. There's ways you can kind of put it on the Bitcoin with Tor, Store, and Taproot. There's no clear way to do it currently on Ethereum in a way that makes sense, but maybe someone will, and this has been some very good academic work
Harry,
on this that we hope gets deployed.
Sure, Harry. I'm connected with the Blockchain Privacy, Security and Adoption Alliance, which is a group of cryptocurrency projects that are working together in order to progress privacy, security, and adoption. That includes Pirate Chain. It includes Sentinel, which is a decentralized VPN, which is in testnet right now and going to be moving onto the Tendermint Cosmos chain. It also includes a project called Ergo, which uses ZK snarks and has smart contract facility. I don't understand how it actually works, like the code about it, but there are these projects that are coming, that are up and coming, that are, like you said, enhancing and building more and more privacy features. Now, I'd like to ask you about the roadmap for NIM. You know, it's in testnet now. When is it moving over to mainnet?
Yeah, I would say we'll move to mainnet. I would say next year. It's kind of depends how crazy the testnet gets. We're going to launch various versions of incentive and reputation systems, and we'll see how those play out in the real world. And once we reach one that's stable, that gets the kind of behavior and performance, and most importantly, privacy that we like, we'll go launch the mainnet. So I think you can use it today. You can. We just don't want to make too strong guarantees over it.
Mhm.
But we will be more confident, I would say, in the future, and we'll launch with mainnet. We're going to see integrations. Again, like I said, we already got, even though maybe, I mean, it's not in the official repo, but we already got like Electrum and stuff working with it. We'll probably see more and more wallet integrations as time progresses. And we'll probably see some integrations even against some non-cryptocurrency apps. So a lot of that, unfortunately, we're still kind of in discussions, and it's a bit confidential exactly what we'll launch in what order. But I'm super confident that if you're kind of a cutting edge crypto person, that you'll see NIM in your life. If you haven't already, probably sort of early next year. And then I think the real roadmap is how to decentralize the network better, because effectively, we need to make sure that, you don't want to be Julian Assange. You don't want to have you get arrested and your whole system be taken down. You don't want a central point of failure. So I think a lot of our work over the next, let's say, 6 months is mainly trying to figure out what's the optimal way to decentralize the system. But we can't just say, oh, let's decentralize it to everybody. There are projects that take this approach. I think like something like Hopper, it really hurts people's privacy when like anyone can just jump on and capture traffic and monitor traffic, and it leads to basically poor privacy for all the participants. We need a system which can be essentially decentralized, maintain a decentralized way, provide privacy, but also provide good quality of service, because you want these things to be moving pretty fast. And you want to have a high confidence in them. So it's a pretty tricky issue, but we're working on it, and I'm confident that we'll continue progressing. And if you have any friends at any kind of alliances of people that are producing running code, we're always interested in chatting with them.
Okay, well, I'll see what I can do with regards to the BPSA. We'll talk about that offline. And if people want to get involved and find out more or support the project in some way or know more.
Yeah, we have a pretty active Telegram channel. You can just join it at any time. It's called t.me, which is of course Telegram, Nym Chan, like a bit like 4chan, but NYM Chan, CHAN, Nym channel. Jump in there. I'm in there. Most of the Nym team is in there. And then that chat channel is to be kind of general purpose. We have a number of kind of invite only or public chat channels. We currently use Keybase for a lot of that. And we're happy to get people involved from there. And you can, again, just download and run up a node, and we'll throw you in the network. And that's kind of, that's, I think, the best way to get in touch. And it's also like, for us, we're really interested in people who want to kind of get their hands dirty, who in running the code and trying to build apps on top of it. So we imagine there's a huge space, for example, for privacy enhanced DeFi. There's a huge space in adding better privacy to Bitcoin. And we would love to find partners which are interested in these kinds of applications, because ultimately, even I know your audience is, doing a lot of trading, and if you're doing trading, I mean, it's completely crazy what's going on now. It's going to be very hard for you as an ordinary trader to prevent, for example, front running by sophisticated bots and this sort of stuff. And if you can add privacy to your underlying chain and the underlying network level, you have a lot more security and safety, and you can actually you can complete your communications and trading much better with this kind of technology. So we think the future of all of this financial tech will be increasingly self-sovereign, decentralized, and private.
Right, right. Very good, very good. Well, I would love to be running a node. I just need one that's a push button one. That's the
That's
one
fine.
that
Well, the Docker image we have is basically push button. I didn't make it. One of our community members, Hans, made it. He's an awesome guy. And we do kind of regular node setup sessions. So I'll just invite you to the next node setup session. If you're in our Telegram chat,
I'll ask in the Telegram group.
and yeah, it's a really it's an easy way. We will help you debug your node, and you'll get a reward for setting one up.
Fabulous, fabulous. Well, Harry, listen, thank you so much for taking the time to discuss this. I'm going to have the links to the website and the Telegram group in the description below. And for anybody who's watching, if you have any comments or questions, put them in below the video. And between now and when I see you next, please keep filling your pockets with crypto profits. This is Crypto Rich and Crypto Harry signing out. All the best. Bye-bye.
Take care.